You're listening to the Rich Dad Cryptoverse podcast, where the force of financial education merges with the power of cryptocurrency. Here's your host, Rob LeCount.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's just me and my buddy Jim talking about some cryptoverse stuff. So, Jim, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing well, brother. How about yourself? I'm enjoying some beautiful weather here in New York. It's in the 60s, mid-March. That is not the norm.
No, spring is coming. It's awesome.
Yes.
It's a little different here. You know, it's 81 working up to 86 in mid-March. Pretty nice.
Rub it in.
Spring.
Rub it in, brother.
Oh, and then you can get a hold of me in July and we'll have a talk.
Yeah, but you have dry heat. Listen, it's hot here. It's hot as hell here too.
Yeah.
But there's humidity, man. I'd rather trade. I want 120 with dry heat over 90 degrees and humidity, and you're just dripping.
I don't know, man.
So,
I'm from back east too. And like, humidity was bad, right? Getting out of the shower and you can't dry off because like it's just like. But here, the dry heat, it's like everywhere you walk is like you're walking inside a hairdryer. It's like, I don't know. It just sucks the moisture.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy. I like
my car door, I open it up and it just feels like somebody's got like a bonfire inside the car rolling. It's yeah. It's
That's
hot.
funny, man.
Hell
That's
on earth.
funny. Yeah.
Anyway, so the lot of news going on this week. There's been some cool action in the market. I mean, depending which side of it you're on. I mean, things are looking good today. So like we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week because, you know, we had our special guest on, which if you guys haven't watched that show, go back to last weeks and watch it because there's some really cool stuff in it. So I would go check it out. So this whole Biden executive order thing and, you know, some of the chaos that comes out of it, like, I'd just love to hear your take on it.
Yeah. You know, I think, you know, there's two sides to it. Not everyone's going to be in agreement on it. I think there's a lot of language in the fact sheet and the executive order itself that I think is really positive for the macro crypto market. And I think, you know, to some extent, you have a president saying it's important that the U.S. maintain its leadership in digital assets, right? And I know detractors or people that maybe were upset are saying, you know, he's urging the Fed to explore the creation of a, you know, CBDC. And for people that don't know, we're talking central bank digital currency. But it's noteworthy that this executive order doesn't really lay out a bunch of directives, but is really rather asking like broad questions about public policy goals. You know, and I think it's important. You want policy to start with thoughtful study and analysis and ideas, you know, that can be proposed and really discussed. I think personally, the U.S. should foster, you know, responsible innovation and manage, you know, risk similar to like kind of how we've done in the past. I go back to like 25 years ago, right? Bill Clinton, the Clinton administration, they built like a policy framework for the internet. And I think it's like kind of akin to what the Biden administration is going to have to do, I think, here for crypto. So again, we need regulation in the U.S. and, you know, federal agencies like like the SEC, you know, they have to put some guardrails in place and enforce laws. I'm totally on board with that. But if it's going to be more mainstream, right, to go from a 1.5 trillion dollar industry to say a 10, 15, 20 trillion dollar industry, we need guardrails. We need regulation. So if you see people in the crypto space saying we don't, I mean, I don't know where they're coming from but it's incumbent upon the president, right, and the government to protect investors, but refrain from crushing innovation. And I think, right, the Clinton administration, I think they kind of did that 25 years ago. And I'm hoping that that'll take place here. And I think it will, as you look at, you know, Web3. And, one of the biggest things really that's holding back the crypto market is, you know, regulation, right? The regulatory clarity, I think that needs to be there. And although this executive order, again, in my estimation, it's my assertion, even though it doesn't establish it, I look at this as kind of a small step in that direction.
Yeah.
So, right. I mean, I think crypto is going to be incredibly disruptive in a lot of ways. So if people listening, if you also believe that, then I think you want these regulatory guardrails that can allow the technology to express itself in a larger, more controlled way. And I know some people may say controlled, but is it really blockchain technology about decentralization? And I would say, yeah, we want to foster that and we're encouraging that, but it doesn't mean that there doesn't need to be some some sort of regulation that is in there, just like we had to do with the internet when it was the Wild West years ago. And we're kind of seeing the same thing. And then to kind of pull in too, you see the conflict in Ukraine. I think it's still showing the world the value of decentralized finance. As people were able to transact through those means, and, traditional institutions in Ukraine, that they were facing challenges. It was arduous for them. So people are hopefully seeing that the traditional monetary system is changing, and decentralized services, they're valuable to an extent. So that's kind of my take on what I saw with the administration, the Biden administration.
I agree with you. I mean, it's legitimacy. It's like, hey, you have the sort of a little bit of permission to come out of the darkness, right? Is what it sort of feels like, because right now everybody thinks, you're still buying drugs on Silk Road or whatever the hell it was, right? With Bitcoin. And it's like so far beyond that. And unfortunately, people get stuck with those old stories and their beliefs. But like when the government starts to shine a little light on it, I think it does bring back some legitimacy, and it does add to the value of it, I think. But
it's not going to be, and it's not going to be a simple road. There are going to be obstacles along the way. That's any technology that has hit the world. I mean, go back to even like Edison with like the light bulb and everything, just electricity and you name it, moves through history.
Airplanes.
Right? And
airplanes. Like how regulated are airplanes?
Absolutely.
And do you want them to be? I know I do.
Because I do, man. You want it to be safe.
Yeah, you don't want like Jim Bob down there like throwing wrenches in the engine where you guys take off, because there's like no regulation. Anyway,
I know. Yeah. No, that's good, man. My wife was flying home from Disney. She was flying home from Disney this past week, and she had that, like there was, like ice on the wings, or when she was going, I should say. And there's all these regulations and stuff. And you're right, man. You want to be safe. So I get it. I get it. We need some of that, but you don't want it too much. And there's that fine balance that, hopefully we can find, and I think that'll come to fruition. I do.
Yeah. And I just, I pray that the government puts together like some sort of like crypto coalition, like they actually go to the space, find the top players in it, pull them in, and actually try and figure out what crypto is before they try and regulate it.
Yeah, and you know what? Keep some of these politicians out that don't know what the hell they're talking about.
100%, all of them.
Right? That are ignorant. The comments that you hear sometimes, and I'm like, did you just say that? That have no understanding of blockchain technology, and they just get like a brief from like somebody that works for them, right? That's, part of their team, and they're just like going on that information, and they really sound dumb. I don't know what else to say. So yeah, you're right. I hope they recruit some really talented, bright people in the space, and that they could sit down at a table and they could talk about a lot of this and figure out what's best.
Exactly.
That'd be great, man.
You want the innovators in there helping, like sort of.
Oh gosh, you need it.
The guardrails. It's important. Yeah, and what the story sort of reminds me. We talk about crypto being decentralized, and like another like piece in the news was the whole Elon Musk, and I think it was Russia that was asking them to shut the internet service down to the Ukraine, because every other traditional internet service shut down. And I get that Elon Musk isn't decentralized, but it does sort of show the power of those kind of innovators, where he's like, Ukraine has internet now because of Starlink and because of Elon Musk, and nobody can tell them to shut it down from Russia, but they can shut down every other one. Like that kind of stuff is pretty cool. And that's kind of innovation we need to moving forward.
Yeah, man. Like I needed to love that guy any more than I do, man. I'm a huge Musk fan.
Well, he's definitely,
I read like a bio on him. Maybe it was like one from 2 years ago, and I'm sure there's going to be a bunch more that are written about him and all the innovation. And all of his eccentricities, and he's just a super fascinating dude. Like, even outside of Tesla, SpaceX. So I've always been interested, even before he garnered a lot of the attention and acclaim. It's pretty neat to see what he's doing out there. And by the way, let me just throw this in. He did say, right, he came out like a few days ago talking about how he's holding on to his Bitcoin and his ETH, and of course his Dogecoin. He's got a huge following there too. So I like that as well.
It's pretty incredible. I mean, the guy single-handedly got rid of NASA. So
I know, right? I mean, that's power, man.
Yeah, like one of the most expensive government agencies in history, and he's just like, I'll do it privately. Man. All right,
that's real power.
So I feel like we've gotten into recent news a little too deep. So like, let's get back into some crypto stuff. So what do you think about talking about staking? Since the market's a little crazy right now, like staking is, I feel like a decent, sometimes stable way, if you do it right, to earn a little bit of passive income. And I think it'd be good just to jump into the basics of staking and like, what is it?
Yeah, you hear of it a lot, and it's good, especially in a market like this. And one of the beliefs, and we always try to talk about this, one of the principles at Rich Dad is always about passive income, right? And it should be for life. So if you're listening to this, there's nothing better to have that passive income flow in whatever it looks like, whatever method you choose, and however you can find it with traditional finance, or, again, we're talking decentralized here. But if you are a crypto investor, or maybe you're not, like staking is a concept that you hear pretty often. And it's similar to, just really trying to keep it very basic, similar to like depositing money in a bank, in that the investor, if you're the investor, you're locking up your assets. And in exchange for that, you're earning rewards or interest. So it may be useful, I think, to think of staking as, you could say, even like owning a stock and you're earning dividends, right? Yeah. So simply put, it's the act of locking crypto up and you receive rewards for it. And it's just a great way to earn passive income. And in most cases, the rewards they're going to be usually the same type of crypto that you're staking or you're locking up. So it's, again, like similar to like depositing money in a bank. Yeah. But the interest that you're getting with a traditional bank is pretty paltry. So it's quite small. And in this case with crypto, even though crypto can be volatile, we can talk more about that, just some of the risks that are associated with it, but it's a great way to get involved, I think, and earn some more money, right, on what you're doing there with your assets, make them work for you.
Yep. Yeah, right? I agree. And like, the neat thing about it that I really like is, because it's no secret that I love DeFi and cash flow. Mm-hmm. Cash flow is king. Absolutely. Is that DeFi and staking really gives anybody the ability to invest, right? You can invest as long as you have a little bit of gas money and $100 or $50, you could start staking and earning a decent interest on just a small amount of money. And it's just cool. It's cool. It's a great entry product. And I actually still use staking as part of like a filling mechanism for my cash flow. I like it. It's fairly stable.
I do it too. Like I'm not going to really get into it. Maybe we're not going to get into it. We won't have time to get into it today, but even things like, a lot of people hear about the Luna ecosystem, and we can go there and look at like Anchor Protocol, and a lot of people are parking, money and, turning that into crypto, exchanging that for crypto. And they're parking what's known as UST, which is the stable coin in the Luna ecosystem. And they're getting like 20%, almost 20%, on that, the yield. Yeah. So there's a lot that's there that a lot of people don't really know about. And in traditional finance, they go, how's that possible? There's no way that you could really do that. So, and it may be worth, if I just mention it quick, when you look at staking, right? So it's available with cryptos that use what's called proof of stake models, right, in terms of processing their payments. So proof of stake is a more like energy efficient, alternative to the original proof of work model. And we hear a lot of that in the news. And, proof of work, it requires like mining devices that use computing power to solve mathematical equations, and really interesting stuff, but above the conversation that we need to have right here today. So like Bitcoin, you think of Bitcoin, and right, we hear that in the news a lot about, well, we need to be more energy efficient, and, Ethereum moving from, proof of work to proof of stake, and ETH 2.0, a lot of this. So yeah, that's it. That's kind of neat. So I'm a huge fan of staking your crypto.
Don't ever forget proof of space and time.
That's right. Love it.
Chives.
Love it.
A couple of the others. All right. Yeah. So we know sort of the rewards are decent, right? 10, 11, 8%, 13%. It just depends on what you find, where you stake it, the stability of the token, stability of the network. All those things are important. We definitely don't want to get into that. But like, what are the different ways that you can actually stake it? Because I've heard of things like everything from liquidity pools, like we probably don't want to talk about, to pairs and stuff like that. But like from the simplest perspective, like, what does it look like to stake?
Yeah. So just to reiterate just quickly, like, and I think it's important. So again, we're saying it's pretty easy when you do it, but it's just right. It's the way that you want to grow your holdings. It's kind of like a hands-off way to really invest. You're not really putting a ton of effort in, but you got to look at certain factors like what are the, APY, what are the rewards? Is there going to be a lockup period, and other aspects maybe of crypto that people really aren't aware of? But so the different ways, and we'll just again keep it really simple. I think for our purposes here, like you look at exchanges and crypto exchanges, and I know for a lot of people they're like, how do I even, like, where do I go, like, to buy crypto, right? So some people listening to us that maybe are trying to jump into the space, well, you'd go to an exchange, and that's really the most straight, forward point of entry for would-be stakers. So you would simply indicate the amount of coins that, you'd like to stake as you get on there. You know what? Maybe I should let me just share my screen.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Like, and this is.
Let me share my screen on this.
Oh, yeah, let me.
And just to show, and I just pulled up a couple. So you can see here, these are a couple of places that I just pulled up like 3 of them. There are more, right? There are a lot of centralized exchanges that you can go on there, and they make it really straightforward and simple in terms of staking your crypto. So one of these happens to be Binance. And, for those people in the United States, you'd have to go to Binance US to set up an account here. For people outside of the country, you have to KYC. So that would be
KYC, by the way, everybody is know your customer.
Know your customer. So you gotta, prove where you are. You got to identify yourself with, passport or whatever, in buying the crypto, or, just making transactions as you set it up. So that would be one. Another one. Oh, look who it is. Matt Damon, right? We see Matt Damon there, crypto.com.
By the way, I just watched Ford versus Ferrari for the first time last night. I know it's been out forever, but I don't watch many movies. And pretty good. So if anybody wants to watch a cool movie about good old American muscle.
I didn't even see it, man. Is it good? I'm a huge Matt Damon fan. I mean,
it's good. It's
actor.
Like 3 hours long if you watch it like on whatever.
There's nothing like Good Will Hunting. How do you like them apples there?
It.
It's just a great movie, man. So I love that. And then, so you have crypto.com. You could do the same thing. You'd have to set up an account there as well. Here's another one, Kraken. Now, from where I'm in New York, so I have a lot more restrictions. You can go to Coinbase if you're restricted and say you're here. It would be easier for you to go there. But these are all platforms. These are all centralized exchanges, again, that you can go to. And I'll stop sharing my screen, but those are exchanges that I just wanted to mention that people can go to, and you can, go there and stake your assets. So, and I need to say this, while there are security issues to thinking about taking this approach, because it's important to note, when you do stake on an exchange, you don't actually hold your keys to your crypto. So you're trusting the exchange to do that on your behalf. So that creates a level of risk that not all stakers are comfortable with. I know some people have had issues with some of the exchanges before. I don't need to go into crazy detail on there, but as opposed to your crypto just sitting idly in a wallet, right, a digital crypto wallet, if you go on an exchange, right, this can kind of do that for you. So these platforms really offer you the opportunity to do that. So just to highlight again, I know some people may be listening and you're not seeing what we're talking about here, but you would simply create an account, go to one of these exchanges. And these are all good. KuCoin is another good one. So these are, I'm giving you my favorite, the biggest ones that are really out there.
Yeah, and you know what we'll do is
go ahead,
Jim, we'll throw links to like some of these just in our description, just to make it a little bit easier if anybody wants to check them out. I love to link to the getting started area, because it walks, all the exchanges will walk you through setting up your account and everything. So it just makes it pretty easy. So
it's super simple. You go on there, you buy your proof of stake, stake coins that, you see what's available on there. They'll list what you can actually stake on their platform if you need to. So if you have some in your wallet, or you need to buy things from the exchange itself, and then, you can, you go to the staking page and you find out what, that is. And you simply put your stuff in there, you tweak your preferences, in terms of the lockups. Now, and we can talk about that and we get into maybe risks after this.
Yeah, I think that's because like because that's important.
Yeah, like, so,
taxation and
right,
claim
people need to
tax.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's like Luna or something, I think there's a good, a 21-day window period there, that if you're locking your assets up, right, and you're gaining a yield and whatever that looks like on a platform like this, or even off of there with a decentralized exchange, whatever, there's usually, you got to know what these lockup periods are and what the APYs are, and are they changing, and any other special
Can you explain
features that
real
are
quick
there.
what a lockup period is? I mean, I think
So yeah, so a lockup period would be, say you go on and you stake your assets there. So there may be a 30-day lockup period where you can't get your crypto back. So you would have to get the ball rolling to say, I would like to unlock my crypto, take it off the exchange, maybe sell it on the exchange or bring it somewhere else, move it around. That is basically telling you need this window of time. So when you're looking at the market, it's something else to really consider. What's going on in the market? Do I want my crypto locked up for 30 days, 60 days, or even longer than that?
Who knows how long with Ethereum at this point?
You just beat me to it, man. So, right, like Ethereum 2.0, people have locked up their crypto. Yep. I saw it the other day. I forget what the number was. I thought it was actually going to be a little bit higher.
It is that. Wait,
I thought it was lower, but it could be.
It is. You're right. On Coinbase,
I thought it was like 4 or 5%. Is it 10? I thought it was lower.
Maybe
I thought it was lower, but I read it quick and I was kind of surprised by it because I'd read it I don't know. But so say it's somewhere in that range. What Rob and I are referring to is that's locked up until ETH 2.0 comes out. Yep. People that have staked that, and some people are very comfortable with that, and they're on the ETH bandwagon. Ethereum, we're talking about the second biggest cryptocurrency that's out there. So yeah, that's pretty much a brief explanation. I don't think it's worth getting into. You can, like you alluded to it before, getting into things like liquidity pools and you can use decentralized exchanges, to do things and go to places like Uniswap. And we've talked about that before, but it gets a little bit more complicated, and maybe down the road we can touch on things like that, but it's kind of hard without doing like a full on tutorial where people can see that. And that's why classes and things, and I know Rich Dad always has a plethora of classes that are out there for different things, real estate, whatever, over the years that Robert has always promoted that were about education. So I'm hoping down the road there'll be more classes even for people to jump in on things like that.
Honestly, we actually have one for this right now. We'll also
you do? Oh, okay.
Yeah, like our
drop that in there.
Rich Dad membership has got like a getting started section where we help people with their MetaMask and Coinbase and the whole nine. And
so how's that? I didn't even know. Yeah, I love it. On yours, okay.
Yeah.
Now wait.
Jeff on the weekly, Jeff on the monthly. Jeff's.
Wait. So you're right. Everything is linked over. What am I saying? You're right. Okay. I didn't realize all those videos were linked over for everyone to get. Oh, well, listen, then I know what you're talking about. Yeah. And all that information is incredibly valuable. Awesome. So if you want to learn, it's absolutely fabulous.
I was trying to look up like real time, like they don't offer it to me anymore. Maybe I just dismiss or ignore too many times in here, and they don't really offer it to me any longer. But I was just curious what that percentage was, because I think right there, 5% APY. I was close.
5. Okay, 5%.
So it's yeah. Oh, it's a little better in the savings account, I guess.
A little bit. Yeah. Little bit. Not. I mean. Yeah, it's better. Right. It's better. At the end of the day, it's better.
I think we should wrap up staking.
Yeah, sounds good.
One with like, what are other risks in this? I know that there's some other risk mechanisms that are sort of tied back to this. What might those be, other than the lockup periods and stuff like that?
I think just to keep it, keeping it simple, crypto's volatile. We don't shy away from that. We give an unvarnished look at everything that takes place. So it's a volatile investment. And as such, you're going to have price swings sometimes that they can be common. So given the volatile nature of crypto and the corresponding price swings, sometimes you got to just rethink your strategy, maybe on a daily basis. So that's something definitely to keep in mind. And if you do lock up your crypto, even though that you're accruing and you're getting, in most cases, you're getting more of the crypto that you're locking up, and we can go into more detail on that, but I would bore you. But when you do that, if the asset is depreciating, right? So even though you're gaining in that asset, it's still depreciating in value. So those are kinds of things that you have to think about. We've mentioned a lockup period, right? And however long that might be. And then also something else I think that is worth noting, you're going to have to pay fees. So there definitely are fees that are associated with staking, particularly if you do it through an exchange. So while it can be hugely profitable and a great way to earn passive income, it's just crucial that you know the kind of fees that you'll be incurring before, I guess, getting started on any platform. So you always want to look at that, and is any hidden language in there, or we say the small print. You just want to know exactly when you're staking on any platform, and you want to avoid any hefty charges. So always take a look at the options. And it may not be for today as we're running on in this, but we could also delve into, and even next week or something, we could talk about, interest-bearing digital asset accounts and talk about things like, BlockFi or Celsius, where and very similar, right? Where you can deposit your crypto and you're earning a yield on it, right? Like you would with a savings account too. So interesting to do that, dealing more with, stable coins in exchange for depositing. So that's something else that we can, possibly look to in the future. But I would say those are the risks that are associated with basic staking on an exchange like that.
Perfect. I feel like I understand it pretty well.
Like a fifth grader, man. That's always right. You're always telling me, keep it simple, keep it simple. Yeah. I understand that. How overwhelming was it? The first time that you sat in front of a computer on your phone and you're trying to make a transaction or a trade and everything just looks, I got Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin for the first time like 6 years ago, and I'll never forget. And I'm like, what is this 0.015349? I'm like, what does this even mean?
I've never seen this many decimals before. What's going on here?
Right.
And then somebody's like, well, hey, once you're done with that, then you just send it over to your MetaMask and then you spooky swap to exchange it. And you're like, whoa, what are we talking about? Crypto? Is this still crypto? It gets crazy. Remember, everybody, Jim and I are not investment professionals by any means. We're just a couple of guys that find this really exciting. So please do research on everything you do. Don't just jump on Coinbase, buy something and stake it today. Like, do some research. It's fun. It's really easy to find a ton of information out there. We'll try and link some here just so it's a little bit easier for you guys to find it, and gals.
We're super meticulous and thorough, man. And we give out a lot of, try to give a lot of useful insight into stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't care what platform it is. I don't care who you're talking to. Like, you need to make your own, everyone should be saying that. You have to make your own financial decisions and get educated yourself. So I could give you a lot. I could tell you, hey, if it was me, maybe you stake this here, go to, but that's not our, that's up to you as the individual investor. Yes, sir.
Your work. It's hard work, man. Lots of research.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to get
I'm feeling like it's your favorite time.
It's my favorite time. I love talking about new projects because they're like, it's funny that we have a segment on the show to talk about new projects. It just shows you how dynamic crypto is. Because honestly, we have new stuff to talk about every week. I mean, there's really interesting things on the horizon. But I do want to give a shout out to my pet hooligans and thank them and their team from last week. That was an incredible show. I love the tour of their whole studio, and I love what they're doing. And I mean, honestly, I went out and bought a hoolie that night. So
that's the funniest thing. I'm so glad you told everybody that. Yes, you heard Rob correct. After he saw that presentation on My Pet Hooligan last week, you went out and bought. And listen, you didn't buy anyone. You bought one that was like, he's fire, man.
Yes,
he is. Yeah, he's good. So I can't wait to see him in the game. And that guy looks like he's going to do some damage. He's going to go down the rabbit hole, and he's going to tear it up. Can't wait.
Zuck bots.
We didn't really go into a lot of detail on that, but that was really neat too. I would have loved if it was a longer conversation about even views on that with Facebook and Zuck. But yeah, good stuff, man.
So what are you looking at now? I mean, do you have
let me share my screen. I got a couple of things here.
Awesome.
All right, and let me show you this one first. It says the plague. Ooh. The frogs are coming.
They like frogs,
right? And so and you can't see this here, but let me tell you who is following this project. And they did not. This is like one of the coolest things about this team. Gary V is following this project.
Oh, I like
okay.
Gary
So
V.
that, yeah, I mean, he's huge in the space, and that doesn't mean everything. Like just, oh, Gary V's following. It doesn't mean the project's going to moon or it's going to take off. But this project, first of all, they didn't even like mention that. They didn't go to their social media platforms and talk about that, which is like an anomaly, right? You don't really see projects like, so every project says that they're really different. So the plague in saying that they're different, right, they're not giving like whitelist spots away. And we've talked about whitelist spots. Why don't you tell them again? Because
whitelist spot is basically like it just depends on how you can get it. There's many mechanisms to get whitelist, but it's just like a VIP access to when they allow something to be released early, you just get early access to something. And it's a really neat mechanism that a lot of these projects use.
Yeah, that was well said, man. And right, I felt it. It was coming. I knew you were going to jump in with that. So yeah, and listen, they've turned down like multiple, like all these YouTube personalities, and they're not looking for people to shield their project. So that, first of all, really like drew me in. But they have a lot of cool things they want to do with the merchandise and the things they're going to have. They're going to let the people, the community, that they're going to be able to submit ideas and do stuff with their merchandise and whatever designs that they kind of have, which I thought was kind of cool. And then this is like the neatest part that I wanted to focus on. This is a little different. So just bear with me. So they're expecting from what they generate, the income that they generate from when the mint actually happens. So again, the mint is the people that are going on there to buy these NFTs. So when people go on there, they are actually taking a percentage, a strong percentage. One is, you talk about how benevolent the founder of this project is. He connected with this kid that's he's in Nigeria. And wild story that he has what's called Cushing disease and dwarfism syndrome. And this guy in this project and the community has like connected with this kid. And this guy, he needs a lot of, he's going to need some surgery. He needs a lot of medical attention. And they're giving $30,000 US dollars. So taking from what they generate from the mint itself, and they're going to be giving it to this kid and his medical needs. And the founder just kind of connected with me. He said, this kid is an amazing kid. And I'm bringing this up because you don't see stuff like this in the space enough. You see a lot of, people that are just looking to make money. And this guy's the antithesis of that. I love the art, and the artist too is kind of cool. His story, right? So this guy, Gary V, is following this guy too. He doesn't have a ton of followers right now, but the project's kind of cool because this guy, the founder is taking 40,000 US dollars from what they generate from the mint, and they're helping pay for this guy's master's degree. He lives in London, and he's getting like his MBA. And the art's going to be really cool, but it's rare to see things like this in the space where people are doing stuff like this. So I think the community is really, they're a really strong community. They're really behind everything that's going on here. I love every aspect really of the project overall. So everything is public. Everything is really transparent. So the founder of the project is not taking anything from this. He's taking zero. So the transparency that I think people see, and there's going to be two phases of this. I think the phase one is going to be like 1,000 NFTs. And then after that, they're looking for like a bigger launch there, maybe like a 10,000K supply. So this is one that I wanted to bring up that I just really like. It's very different. And I know in the space, being connected to a lot of different NFT, people, projects and teams, that people want this guy's attention. And he's like, look, I'm not into you shilling this project. I want organic growth. I want this to be real. I care about the community. I care about the vision, the long-term plan for this. So it's something, again, the plague is something that I think people should have on their radar. And then number two is called Anero, the Aneroverse. And they say that they have 68,000 followers. Legit. This is another one, man. These guys aren't looking to, and by the way, AN stands for anime. So this is like an anime based project. And Arrow was added to like create a word that was like easy on the tongue and undoubtedly just sounds like a brand. Yeah. So this is more about a brand. So they're saying they want to be a brand without, bounds. And that's kind of cool. I think this project's going to have some staying power. Again, like the plague, they have a really strong community. The team is authentic. They're innovative. And as part of the project, they're developing what they call like a streetwear marketplace. They're going to have some manga development. And if you don't know what that is, that's like, comics and graphic novels that, originating from Japan. So they're going to have that too. And then they're going to have a metaverse presence. And what I thought was wild, get this now, in terms of the metaverse that they want to build out. And remember, a true metaverse takes a long time to build out. Yes. So it's not like when you see people just slap that name, on a project, or that word, I should say. So in their metaverse, so they want to integrate a wardrobe closet to where you would be able to try on your latest clothing drops on like a 2D or a 3D avatar version of your Anero NFTs, which I think is really cool. And they would be able to interact with each other. So these are going to be really high end, I would say, NFTs. They've been this project's been in the making. They're really going slow. They started in November. You see a lot of projects come out and they're looking to go really fast. I'm not really seeing this. They're really, and everything that they've put out there for people to see, these would be their low end NFTs, their low, end artwork. Yeah. So these are commons that they've shown. So I'm really excited about it as this really comes out. Their artist is doxed. And I think he's really good. So that's another project to look at. And then finally, I don't know if you're familiar with this one. This is the biggest hyped NFT project. Rob, look at this. Look at how many followers.
Wow. That's
380,000 followers. And the imaginary ones.
By the way, real
go ahead.
Quick, just so everybody also notices, look at the joined date for the actual account creation. January 2022. So they've garnered 380,000 followers in less than 2 months.
Yeah, the artist from this, man, behind this has worked on Nike project, Apple, Samsung, Heineken, and Spotify. So the reputation precedes, coming into the space, and look, like people can see some of the artwork I just think is spectacular. So everybody and anybody is trying to get in on this project. And I'm going to throw this out there, Rob. Ready? I'm going to end with this, and then you can take this.
All right.
I am asking the Imaginary Ones team. We would love to have you on the show. We're not looking for a partnership. We're not looking for a collaboration. I know you get inundated with people looking for that, but we would love to have you on the show to talk about not only your project before you, and the mint date is at some point in April. They haven't given an exact date as of now, but I would love to have them on, man, to just hear their plan, their long-term vision, talk about the community, talk about the Web3 space. And similar like we did with My Pet Hooligan, even though this is pre-launch, it would be really neat to have somebody on. So if you're out there and you hear this, we'd love to have you on the show.
And also, hey, you know what? From what I understand, they turned comments back on in our videos. I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate, so don't quote me on it. But if they have, maybe what you do is just sort of tag Imaginary Ones in the comments, and maybe we can get their attention. And maybe we can.
Wouldn't it be amazing to get this? This is the biggest a giveaway. Exactly. Yeah. So I'd love to have them on there, man, and be different, because we're not looking, and a lot of these, again, YouTubers and shilling and always trying to get stuff. And so, but it would be kind of cool. And look, good vibes only. When you look at their roadmap and stuff, and we can get into that on another day. But kind of cool.
Who doesn't like good vibes?
Yeah, man. Absolutely. You got anything to end us with?
Vibes. And you know what? I think we'll drop a couple of these communities, Discord communities, in the description as well. Just
cool.
I mean, I think from an education standpoint, like you and I are both in these Discords, and we feel like they're good communities. So I think it's probably good for our listeners, watchers, or whatever, to have an opportunity to just jump in and maybe learn a little bit from those communities that we believe in.
I couldn't agree more. More. They're
I am like, you are so detailed when it comes to this. Like, I am just like high level.
Sorry, man,
I just want to give a shout out, because I'm a huge fan of Thor. Thor is one of my DeFi babies. That project's, it's great in my opinion. But Asgardian Bulls Club is an NFT project that's a sort of a hat tip on the AVAX network, and I just want to give them a shout out because I'm pretty stoked about that. So That's all I have to say. Like mine's super boring. Like you get into like who the designers and stuff.
I don't know. That's the only way. Listen, for our community to even rocket fuel, that's the only way I could do it, man. If I'm going to like recommend something or talk to people about it, I want them to be educated. So that's cool. Hey, listen, I love our conversations. They're always great.
Always great. All right, everybody, we're gonna kick off. We'll see you all next week.
Có anh không người hỡi, bao đắm say ta có bên người còn đâu, làn tuyết trắng mùa đông khóc nhau, nhìn từng con phố ngày xưa vắng lặng, tuyết trắng luôn sẽ có hoài. Ngày xưa ấy một lần lầm lỡ, thế nhưng lại đau vì ta mất nhau. Người không thứ tha đời ta ngỡ ngàng, để cho thương nhớ về trong lỡ ngày ta xa một ngày mùa đông, tuyết rơi lạnh cơn xót xa hoài mong. Bông tuyết rơi